Speaking of Golden Shovel, I'm about to bury you for the next 2 hours, Trevor. Welcome back to the wrestling show. We're keeping it real. Goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Wrestle Talk live here on YouTube. Hello to everyone watching. Hello to everyone listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please leave a 5-star review. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Trevor, the barman, Sutan, how you doing, man?
I am okay. I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Yes. Anyway, we're going to talk about a lot today. We're going to talk about AEW Full Gear, review that also. Trevor, there is a WWE pay-per-view this weekend.
I almost forgot about that.
And I wouldn't blame you. Survivor Series 2021 is this weekend. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the build-up or lack thereof that has commenced since then. We'll talk about the big news coming out of Full Gear. Also, some potential call-ups from NXT UK, which may or may not be a thing anymore. But before we get to any of that stuff, we're going to talk about AEW Full Gear. And Trevor, 3 years later, the Hangman finally did it. At AEW Full Gear, we saw a plethora of happy endings, one of which included arguably the most well-liked and well-booked wrestler in the entire world. Hangman Adam Page defeated Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship in 25 minutes of pure brilliance between these two. It was brilliant storytelling. It was a really good match as well. AEW Full Gear in general was a very good show. Just run through the card real quick. Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa on the buy-in defeated Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose. MJF, that sneaky heel, defeated Darby Allin in one of the best matches I've seen in a while. The Lucha Bros, Penta and Rey Fenix defeated Dash Hardwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Bryan Danielson defeated Miro via technical submission. Miro is still not allowed to see his wife, apparently, after this. Christian Cage and Jurassic Express defeated the Super Click after Jungle Boy absolutely killed, there's no other way to pull it, Adam Cole with a concerto. Cody Rhodes and Pac defeated Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo via pinfall. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, retained her AEW Women's World Championship against Ty Conti. CM Punk defeated Eddie Kingston in an 11-minute match that was a fight. And the Inner Circle defeated Men of the Year and American Top Team in the Minneapolis Street Fight. And, of course, as I said before, Hangman Adam Page defeated Kenny Omega to become the new AEW World Champion. So my formerly glassist friend, by the way, Big on Wrestling, I should say, is in the chat. Welcome, Big on Wrestling. Kelly on SmackDown, Maurice on Raw. What is happening to wrestling? I don't know. But we've got a lot to talk about in AEW right now. But Trevor, overall, what did you think about this pay-per-view overall?
It was good. Like we talked a few minutes ago before we got on, and yeah, it's good. It wasn't better than All Out not last year. Was it last year or the year before last? It wasn't as good as that one, but it wasn't bad either. It was good. It's still a solid show. Great matches.
Yeah, cool. What do you think was the best match on the card?
Honestly, I kind of feel like Miro and Brian Danielson stole the show, man. That was such a great match. You can also argue that Britt Baker and Ty Conti was a great match too, because that was an amazing match as well.
Yeah. I really enjoy. I thought Ty Conti really not even held her own. I thought Ty Conti honestly was almost. She belonged in the main event. Yeah. We talked earlier about how that match was going to be a huge test for Ty Conti, whether or not she could hang, whether or not she could, kind of in a way almost carry a main event, but she did a lot of the work in that match. Her kicks looked stiff because they probably
Yeah,
were. That
yeah.
amazing moonsault she had from the top rope to the bottom to take out Hayter and Reba was
That was
just an
amazing.
insane
That,
move, and you could
that was
tell she was scared as hell doing it. She took her time and she did like a whole like Hail Mary, all that stuff. So big ups to her, as Taz would say. But I thought that this was a very good pay-per-view. I did a stream following the pay-per-view where I kind of reviewed it in like the immediate aftermath. After having a few days to kind of think about it, I still would say the best match on this card was MJF versus Sting's son, Darby Allin.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
great match. Amazing
I
match.
I mean, and again, it might just be me. That's again, hey, that's nothing against Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. They had a really, really, really great match, but I just loved the. I don't know. The MJF Darby Allin match was just did it all for me. The multiple pin spots, the rolling cradles were awesome. I
Yeah,
thought the finish was amazing with MJF at his wits end trying to force Darby Allin to disqualify himself. I thought that
yeah,
was great storytelling. It the Hangman win was a much better moment by far. It's arguably the most
absolutely.
important moment in the history of the entire company, but as far as match, I really loved the MJF versus Darby Allin match the most. There wasn't really a bad match on this card, honestly. Like
No,
we were talking about how the
no,
Minneapolis Street Fight could be like a piss break match. Cody Rhodes and Pac versus Malachi Black and Andrade Idolo was also a really good match as far as in-ring work goes, but it was a lot, and we'll get to the fact that it was a lot in a different segment because there was a lot of fans, including our boy here, Big Ticket, complaining about the lack of squash matches and just how high octane some of this card was. But overall, this is a great pay per view. For me, it is one of their it is their best in ring work match for match that they've ever done. Like most consistent pay per view as far as in ring work goes, because each match was good to great. There was no stinkers. There were no squash matches. So from that standpoint, it's the best. From overall, like how it was structured and everything, I would still put All Out 2021 as a better overall pay-per-view.
yeah, I would
But
too. Definitely.
AEW is a company that even their bad pay-per-views, I think their worst pay-per-view is probably like Full Gear 2019 was probably their worst pay-per-view that they've done, and that was still like a really good show. but
It
but
was.
it's like
It really was.
but it's in perspective of what they've done. So that's what I kind of have to say about that card as a whole.
Yeah, I think it was a good card. Like I said, I think it was a great. It was a great pay per view. Not too many like squash matches. Not too many like piss break matches. Honestly, it was solid all the way through.
Absolutely. And we got to hear Excalibur on the call to tell us to buy stuff at AEWshop.com. Trevor, I want to get to the main event. This main event, Trevor. This main event. Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Title. 3 years of build, and it lived up to it. It lived up to it in almost every way. The finishing sequence of the match saw the Young Bucks come out after Hangman Adam Page had hit Kenny Omega with a one-winged angel, and Kenny Omega kicked out because that's what he does. And it was interesting they didn't go with the Hangman kicking out of the one-winged angel spot for
Yeah, I
this,
kind of thought they were going to do that actually,
but they might be saving that for the rematch.
eh,
Which that would be interesting if they did that. But so Young Bucks come out, and Hangman Adam Page, he sets up for a buckshot lariat to the back of Kenny Omega, and Matt Jackson looks up at him, says nothing, just lets him do it. Instead of grabbing his leg like Hangman did, he just lets him do it. And then Hangman goes for another one on the front of Kenny Omega after 2 years of build once again. And Nick Jackson just looks up at him, nods in acceptance of Kenny Omega's loss, in acceptance of an apology that was all itself a year and a half in the making from Hangman Adam Page to the Young Bucks. He nods. He hits the buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3.
Three.
Hangman Adam Page, new AEW World Champion. What did you think of it?
I mean, it was so. I won't say it was anticlimactic because it wasn't. Because even though we already did know what was going to happen, right? But God, it was so satisfying. it was like playing one of your favorite video games for a very long time and finally beating it. It was very, very satisfying. The payoff was great. The match was chef kiss. It was such a great match, and the acknowledgement of the Young Bucks just nodding his head like it was amazing. The whole thing was great. I thought the storytelling was amazing during the match. I thought just the sequences of matches, of moves, it was great.
Yeah. I mean, again, this was a very strong match. There were some people who, like me, complained about one thing. There was one thing that went very wrong in this match, and that I need to call out. As I believe it was Nick Jackson. As Nick Jackson nods to Hangman Adam Page, we cut from Nick Jackson nodding directly to Hangman Adam Page having already been halfway across the ring hitting the buckshot lariat. And I was like, look, don't get me wrong. It didn't ruin the moment, but the shot of but the thing is, we missed the shot of Hangman leaping to catapulting himself into the buckshot lariat. We missed that shot completely.
Yeah.
And that's the one huge thing that I was just like, dude, what the hell? What the hell?
The camera angle was definitely off.
I'm just they Kevin Dunned it. They stayed with the shot too long. They Kevin Dunned it. Okay, nothing else to add there. Okay, awesome.
No. I was laughing at what you said. But no, yeah, they did. They definitely did Kevin Dunn it. Which is sad because you thought that they had better cameramen. But no, it didn't take away from, like you said, but it was one of those things that, perfectionists like yourself and others would be like,
I'm just saying the build over the past 2 years has been hitting Kenny Omega with a buckshot lariat. And I saw him hit it. Don't get me wrong, I saw him hit it, but at the same time, I didn't see him, I didn't see the move. Come on, I want to see some cowboy shit. How dare you?
How dare you take the cowboy shit away from me?
Damn it, Tony Khan. Worst booker of the year, Tony Khan. This guy. Although, you know what? He definitely takes booking for... if there was an award for booking women, he'd definitely win Worst Booker of the Year. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I got thoughts about that. Also, the way he's booked Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, who I just saw a match they had on AEW Dark. Yeah. Dude, they killed it. They had 5 minutes to go out there, and they killed it. I'm just like, why is Joey Janela... Why is Joey Janela not? I want to see Joey Janela versus Brian Danielson on AEW. Give it to me.
That'd be a good match. Joey Janela can go, actually. He's a great worker.
Also, I love how we're getting Ishii from New Japan, from Chaos on Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not wrestling Bryan Danielson. Apparently, Bryan Danielson even told Tony Khan at the media scrum, he was just like, really, Tony? You're going to bring him in and not have him wrestle me?
That makes no sense. Yeah, Ishii should definitely wrestle Daniel Bryan. Definitely.
Stay tuned. Trevor, you want to go through the chat?
Si, senor. Start from, you did all that. Let's see. You can tell WWE sucks now. This is big on wrestling, by the way. You can tell WWE sucks now. They don't call the females divas anymore. Really?
Whoa.
Anyway, big ticket. We're going to big ticket. Full Gear had too many good matches, which is crazy to say. Needed a squash or two so I could catch my breath.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about it in a second. Big ticket. Who had the better storylines, AEW today or WWE Attitude Era?
What storylines did they have in the Attitude Era other than choppy your PP?
Yeah, choppy your PP. A lot of crotch chopping.
What was the storyline? What McMahon versus Stone Cold? Amazing
Yeah,
storyline.
I mean that. Let's see. You also had the Booker T versus The Rock. Anyway, hi, bro. Brian Woodridge says, "Hi, bro. Is it true that WWE is going to release the Mysterios?"
No,
No,
not true.
I don't think so.
No,
No,
not a chance.
Well, fake news. Ryan Woodridge also says, "And is Roman going to be suspended on Friday night?"
No, he's not going to be suspended. No. Roman is going to show up, win, leave like he always does.
Like he always does.
He is the second best final boss in professional wrestling today. Actually, no, he is the best now because Kenny Omega lost. So, yeah, he's the best final boss in professional wrestling today.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, keep those questions coming. Keep questions up in the chat. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever new videos released. Trevor, let's move on and talk about some changes that might be coming to AEW Dynamite. We got some big changes that might be coming to AEW Dynamite, with Dynamite changing stations, channels, whatever you might want to call it, in January. They're moving again from TNT to TBS. Tony Khan said that we could see some changes coming to Dynamite. Not in the format of the show, but in the aesthetic and the presentation. We basically had the same variation of the set design, the rings, the apron, all that kind of stuff since Dynamite's debut episode. Tony Khan said there might be some changes to that coming. He hinted at that at least, so stay tuned for that. Trevor, what do you think about the idea of Dynamite potentially getting a little bit of an upgrade as far as the aesthetics go?
As long as they don't change I like the look. I like the somewhat indie promotion look. Like I've said this before. Like AEW is a primetime promotion with an indie feel, and I love that. And I think that's what a lot of guys like myself who love indie wrestling watch AEW, because it does have that indie feel. And I think the aesthetics also help. As long as they keep that kind of sorta, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, everybody needs to upgrade here and there, right? But just don't change it too much. I that's what I feel was what happened with NXT. I think they changed something that didn't need to be changed.
Could you imagine AEW Dynamite 2.0, baby? Dynamite 2.0. They just get like a live studio audience, and then like
it's just god.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Although, here's one thing I'll say. Dynamite definitely could use a little bit of an upgrade as far as just like, if the upgrade is even something as small as like using the set design that they had for Full Gear as like the new kind of set moving forward, I would like that because I really like this new set design. They kind of got rid of the old chandelier. Like, you know what I'm talking about. There we go. The old chandelier, the gates or whatever. And they got the steel panels, the arches as the entrance ramps now. Like, I really like that feel. So if it's something like that, or even potentially bringing the AEW logo back onto the mat like they do for Rampage, that could be a good move. But I think there's nothing wrong with slight changes to the presentation, slight changes to the overall look of the set design and the show, because I think that fresh look also kind of keeps it a little bit up to date, because you don't want to keep on with the same look for too long, right? Because eventually, it begins to feel a little stale. It begins to feel a little, and AEW is at the point where, they're going to, like, they're big time. So my thing is just slowly make these like aesthetic changes. Who knows? It'll definitely look better. It'll definitely look better and new. And it'll give the whole show a new feel.
I agree. Like I said, upgrade couldn't hurt. Like, it's about time. But as long as they don't change it too much.
How mad would you be if they just went all out with the paint? You know how like they just go all out with the paint, and they go, all right, we're gonna have just a sea of white surrounding the arena, and they just go full out NXT 2.0.
I would probably cry and stop watching for a while.
We definitely need to get Trevor on a live stream for AEW Dynamite if that's the case. I want you to cry. I want you to cry. I'm like Vince. I'm like Vince to the fans. If they're not crying, I'm not winning. Like.
Yes, he did say that. Unfortunately,
He definitely has said it to someone. Let's go to the chat real quick. John Woodmoss says Willie's.
Hello.
That will do, John. That will do. Ryan Woodridge in the chat says, Omer, who is better, WCW Big Show or WWE Big Show or AEW Paul White? First of all, there was no Big Show in WCW. There was the Giant in WCW. Yes. I'm not going to lie to you. I am at the point in WCW where the Giant is walking to the ring, smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. I want to see Paul. Right? 99, but
99. That's right.
Actually, I'm at the point where he's about to leave and jump ship to WWE. Oh gosh, I only have 2 more weeks. I only have like a week left of. Actually, no, I don't have anything left of. Oh my God, he already left. St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Damn it, Trevor, can you mute yourself when you do that, please? My God, sure. Sir, rude, just rude. So goddamn rude. This guy is a professional. You know what, Trevor? You're fired. This is my show again.
Cool.
You're fired. 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 No, Paul White is by far the worst out of these 3. Although New Year's Baby Big Show, you could make a case for being the worst.
Terrible. Yeah,
New Year's Baby Big Show. Well, oh my God. Ryan Woodridge in the chat says, what are your thoughts on Rey Mysterio being out of Survivor Series? Oh, I'll get to that. Do you have a cold, my friend?
Allergies.
Well, yeah, you better take like an Allegra or something, bro. You better take some something, man. Get some medicine from Eunice. Eunice got the good medicine. It'll make you good. That Robitussin, bro. Get that tussin. That Robitussin. You know? Robitussin. Oh man. Yeah. You know what I never thought about?
What?
In WCW, why didn't they book anyone to beat the NWO?
They never did. I never understood why. Even the 4 Horsemen had issues with them.
No, but like my thing is, I just don't understand. Like, you have this monster, this monster heel faction that one day someone will beat and get over big time. Why don't you beat them? Like they never did. Even Sting, when he beat Hulk Hogan, he never beat Hulk Hogan.
No, he never did. But it was also Hulk Hogan. He never lets anyone get over.
brother, gotta protect my spot. Gotta protect my spot, brother. Brother.
You know, he just. Yeah. And this goes on for like 7 hours.
Yeah, the brother, bro, but the showboating never stops. But you know who deserves to showboat for 10,000 years?
Kenny, by God, Omega.
Kenny, by God, Omega lost his AEW World Championship to the Hangman Adam Cole. The Hangman Adam Cole. Book it, brother.
Book it, brother.
The battle for the gimmicks. Kenny Omega lost his AEW World Championship to Hangman Adam Page at AEW Full Gear, ending his title reign of 346 days, Trevor. Kenny Omega's title reign saw him not only win the AEW World title, defeat Jon Moxley in a death match, he beat Rich Swann to become the TNA and Impact Wrestling World Champion. He won the AAA Mega title. He defended all 3 titles successfully at multiple points throughout this run, before eventually losing the TNA title to Christian Cage earlier this year. What a run it has been with Kenny Omega at the top. Trevor, recently it's come out that Kenny Omega has had a plethora of injuries. We knew he was kind of working injured, but it's come out recently that Kenny Omega has major injuries and major wear and tear on his shoulders and his neck. He apparently cannot move his neck all the way back. His shoulders, he can't lift more than 45 pounds. And he was even quoted as saying earlier this week that I don't need to wrestle. I don't need my shoulders to wrestle. So this is a guy who's basically given it his all for this run. Is it time for Kenny Omega to finally just take some time off?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. You almost held the belt for what, entire year? Like, dude, take some rest, man. Take some time off. You don't want to end your career early. Like, you're still young. You still got a lot more in you. To take your time off, man. Like, I mean, you had a great run. He had become one of the most annoying heels possible. It was so much fun to watch. Kenny Omega heel is probably the most entertaining thing I've ever seen in my life. I love Kenny Omega heel. It's hilarious. Young Bucks heel, the whole all elite heel, being heel is hilarious. And it was a great run. But even Kings need to take some rest off. So I think it's time for them to take a rest.
Yeah, I mean, once it gets to a point where you say, like, you can't lift things past 45 pounds, once it gets to a point where you can't move your neck, I think it's time to seriously take a look at your body. And we heard reports about this, remember? We talked about this even on the show, that Kenny Omega had, he had been basically wrestling injured for most of this big run. And so that was always in the background. But it was never, I guess, more apparent than now, because he actually talked about it openly on I believe he was doing a chiropractor session on YouTube, and he talked about it.
Yeah.
And like as someone who's a fan of Kenny Omega, man, like, you love to see what he's accomplished over the past year. And we'll get to our thoughts on the belt collector, Kenny Omega, in a second, but at the same time, you got to think, like, man, was it worth like everything he probably put his body through, having these legendary matches with the likes of Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, Rich Swann, Adam Page? Like, was all of that worth it, working injured week in, week out, carrying multiple companies on your back, wrestling at Triple Mania against Andrade El Idolo? Like, all of this stuff, like, at what point do you say, man, like, maybe I don't know. That's for Kenny Omega to decide, I guess, for whether or not it was worth it for him. I'm sure if you asked him, he would do it 1,000 times over again. But I don't know. Like, that's the I guess, reckoning fans have to come to, that these people who we love, these people who entertain us, they are, again, always putting their body through the most. And I don't think there's anyone over the past year who really put his body or her body through the most than Kenny Omega.
No.
And it's mostly highlighted by his title reign. Like, I mentioned what he did, beating Rich Swann for the TNA title, beating Christian Cage at All Out, beating or successfully defending the Mega Championship multiple times, winning the AEW World title, doing a death match, which, forget the ending, but it was an amazing match before that, and a brutal match at that. Like, he put his body through a lot. And I guess my question to you is, with this whole belt collector gimmick seeming to be wrapping up or having wrapped up, how will Kenny Omega's run here, this big title reign, the belt collector year of the year of Omega, how will that be remembered, do you think, by fans?
I think it might be remembered, if you're an actual fan, a diehard fan. I think it might be remembered as one of the greatest things anyone's ever seen, because it's one of the things that you don't see a lot of. You don't see, you know, wrestlers have different titles in different companies, things like that, but you don't see it announced like you do in AEW. And like with that, with them doing that, it also puts the wrestlers on a different pedestal than your wrestlers in the past. Scott Norton had championships over in that promotion we won't say, and he also, but in WCW, you didn't see him carry it around. Scott Norton was a decorated champion in other federations, but you didn't see him carry those championships around. In AEW, you see these wrestlers allowed to carry their championships around, along with the championships they have there. So it kind of puts them on a different pedestal, put them in a different light. It's great to see. And I think fans will remember that as history in the making. You know what I mean? Is a historic moment in wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, also think about what he accomplished. Like, people want to say, "Oh, he just won the belts at Impact and AAA," and then he didn't really have like too much of a I guess, for lack of a better phrase, impact on their business. I'm like, he totally did. Impact
Yeah, he
Wrestling
did.
had some of their best pay-per-view buys with Kenny Omega headlining pay-per-views.
Sure did.
Triple Mania, I believe, was one of the most bought Triple Manias ever, with Kenny Omega headlining. All Out was the most bought non-WWE pay-per-view since 1999.
Sure did.
We don't know what the full results are on the pay-per-view buys for Full Gear, but those are probably going to be very good, at least somewhere in that 200,000 range. So Kenny Omega is someone who, whatever we want to say, what we want to say that, oh, he's like, there are people who will just bring up any excuse for Kenny Omega. Oh, if he had wrestled a WWE schedule, he wouldn't even be on top. And I'm just like, okay, cool. It's probably a good thing he's not wrestling a WWE schedule, because his career probably would have been shortened by 10 years had that been the case. And people can say all they want, like, oh my God, like these. What the most annoying thing, Trevor, is for me, when I hear on Twitter, is like this weird argument about AEW not having live events, therefore their wrestlers either shouldn't be paid as much, or they.
That's my computer. Sorry.
Damn it, Trevor, ruining the whole recording. It's either AEW, but AEW doesn't have live events, so the wrestlers don't work hard enough, or the wrestlers, shouldn't be paid as much. And I'm like, dude, what does that have to do with anything? No one shows up to WWE live events. They're losing money. WWE loses money with their live events that they run up until now, because they finally returned, but before they were losing money. So the entire live events business, I think, needs to be kind of readdressed in the way that it's done. It's good that smaller markets get availability to pro wrestling. I think if you run a live event schedule, like a kind of like a mini tour every few months, that's cool. But I think week to week, that burns people out. Hell, going to work on a regular basis for regular people burns them out. What do you think throwing your body on the ground does for a living night in, night out? It destroys people's joints. It destroys people's lives. And people aren't able to wrestle until they're 50 years old, like Christian Cage is doing. Say what you want on a limited schedule. Guess what? He's having great matches week in, week out, and that's fine. And I think as fans, man, we should want wrestlers to be able to walk when they're 60, to be able to play with their grandkids, to be able to play with their family and walk and do normal things and enjoy themselves for having entertained us all those years. Like, we're not entitled to them, literally killing themselves over time and destroying their bodies. No. Like that's the thing that annoys me the most. Like, you have these people who want these wrestlers to hurt.
Yeah. And this sick and sadistic. They
This
owe us
coming
nothing, honestly.
this coming from the man who watches GCW.
Mind your business.
I am not a hypocrite. I am not a hypocrite. Oh, man. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Trev, let's move on. Again, this has a lot to do with kind of like the annoying side of wrestling and the annoying side of wrestling fandom, I think. And it a lot of people kind of wrote this story off, but I want to talk about it because I think there's some real truth to it. And it has to do with Cody Rhodes, who is. Yes, he is still an EVP. We could talk about Hollywood Cody Rhodes, which I am a huge fan of this whole idea of Cody Rhodes potentially going Hollywood. And he kind of is going Hollywood. I like the little hints that they're dropping about that.
Yeah, I like to see heel Cody Rhodes, actually.
Yeah, but hey, man, there's nothing more heelish than pissing people off on Twitter. Let's talk about it. Trevor, ooh, my throat.
You all right?
Cody Rhodes, yes, I'm fine. Cody Rhodes is leaving Twitter. Cody Rhodes deactivated his Twitter this week in an appearance on Busted Open Radio last Friday. Rhodes announced to the host that he would soon be leaving the social media platform. Rhodes cited the amount of sniping and negativity on Twitter as the reason, telling them that he would exclusively now be on Instagram. He said this, quote, "Yesterday was my last day on Twitter. Because of the sniping and negativity out there, I just moved everything to Instagram." And this has sparked a little bit of a debate online. Of course it has, because wrestling fans have to involve themselves in everything. And some people are mad that Cody Rhodes is leaving Twitter because they're calling him a snowflake. They're calling him, whatever, because he can't handle some bad tweets thrown his way. Other people are just like, I mean, Twitter is pretty toxic to begin with. And once you throw wrestling fans in there, it becomes a whole different level of toxicity. But Trevor, what do you kind of make of this news and the reasons that Cody Rhodes gave about him leaving Twitter?
I mean, you said it best. Twitter is toxic as fuck. Completely toxic. I sometimes look at Twitter and I'm like, Jesus Christ, why? But I don't know. I mean, I guess it could also be him trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of rile up the fans a little bit, because wrestling fans, they have nothing else to worry about, so they get mad at stupid shit. So it could have something to do with the fans. Because honestly, I believe there's going to be a Cody Rhodes heel turn, and this could lead up to it. This could be all part of it. But I don't know. Do you think the Cody Rhodes heel turn has already happened? I think it has, actually. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I think it has subtly happened, because you're starting to notice the boos. You're starting to know the way he interacts with the fans. I mean, yeah, of course he still gives his shout out to people who are the special guests, whatever. Just handicapped kids or disabled kids, and he does all that, but that's just because he's a good person. His heel turn has nothing to do with who he actually really is. It's just a character he plays. But I believe it's starting. I believe it's in the process. If it hasn't started already, it's in the process.
See, I think Cody's going to go down this route of just being. He's not going to change. I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to be a full-on, you stinky people kind of heel. He's not going to be that kind of heel. I think Cody Rhodes is going to be the most delusional heel in the history of pro wrestling. It's that whole thing of remember there was this quote from someone in AEW that, Cody Rhodes thinks he's Captain America, but he's actually Homelander, which everyone heard and was like, oh, that's totally true. It's so eerily true. And I think, look, the boos, why they're booing Cody, it's similar reason, I think, why a lot of people boo either Triple H and John Cena, kind of a little bit of a mix of that. People think that they book he books himself to the top. People, even though he took himself out of the world title picture to begin his entire run in AEW, people think that he doesn't put anyone over, even though he made Darby Allin, even though he put over Brody Lee in a squash match in his first match for the TNT title. So I mean, a lot of it I think is just kind of. I think there's a lot of people who are tongue-in-cheek, okay, Cody's getting a little stale with his whole, my dad and the American night dream lives on in me, and I love America, and I don't care what people think, I love it. It's getting a little, you're getting a little hanky-panky Rhodes. But also, I mean, Cody's just amazing in the ring, and that's undeniable, and I think that's the reckoning some people have. But I think you're going to see him kind of do what I wanted Cena to do. Because I never wanted Cena to turn full heel. I just wanted him to be why are you booing me? Just be confused. Just utterly delusional. Still do good things. Every now and then kind of do a little bit of a heelish thing because he's so delusional. and kind of hint to that, but never go full circle with it, being like, you stinky marks, man. Like remember when Dean Ambrose, he like my man Dean Ambrose had like the handkerchief and
Oh
everything, and
yeah,
he's just like, hold up, wait. You smelly people. Like,
yeah, that was terrible.
no, don't ever do that. But I want to see some sort of like something like that perennially, habitually hints to him being heel, but without him just like going all out.
What if he goes back to the when he was in ROH where he had the title ring? Like, what if he goes back to that type of Cody? Because I always loved that.
He's a heel. That was full on dick Cody Rhodes, dude. That was when he was too good for school. Like that was literally like the biggest.
Yeah, he was way too heel there. He was super heel there. But
do you remember he showed up to Impact Wrestling for like a one-off, right? We did one angle with Brandy and Impact, and his entire gimmick was I'm too good for TNA. Like that was his entire gimmick. That was too much. I think that was too much. I guess kind of. And Big Ticket asked this question in the chat. He says, "Do people boo Cody even know why they're booing him, or is it just trendy?" I think there's this perception of Cody Rhodes that he politics in the back, that he books himself in these main event feuds that go nowhere, which, look, Cody Rhodes versus Lee Johnson, I believe it was, or no, Anthony Ogogo. Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo, not a money feud, better. Mike G. But Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin, really good feud. Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black, really good feud. People point to, I think, that one thing with Anthony Ogogo and the Nightmare Factory in general, which all of it was trash. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it was.
But they pointed at one thing, and he's like, "Oh, Cody's like an egomaniacal maniac." I'm like, dude, we don't even know this guy. Like chill out. All right. So I mean, I think it was like that whole thing, and he has these grand entrances. They call him the Triple H of AEW, which is not true because he doesn't have final say over any booking decisions. That's all Tony Khan. But I think it was just one of those things that happened because of that. Like there was a large segment of fans who kind of realized that, and then it became trendy. I think people just were like, it was kind of like it became. Well, I mean, I almost want to say kind of like it became trendy to boo John Cena, but there was also a valid reason why I think people were booing Cena, because a lot of people were just sick of seeing Cena on their TV screens in the main event, winning.
After a while.
I think that was it. Like and it had very little to do with John Cena. It's similar to Roman Reigns. Like Roman Reigns, people can make the argument was a trendy boo thing, but also we were trying to send a message that, hey, this isn't working, But I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with everything you said. Honestly, I believe same thing with Triple H, same thing with Roman Reigns, and same thing with Cena. Like Cena to me just got stale after a moment because like you were tired of seeing him in the championship, and Roman Reigns, I feel like they pushed him earlier than he should have been pushed, and I think that's could be part of why why people boo him. Then like with Cody, I think it might be a trendy thing. Like I mean, because like you said, like does he have some high profile matches? But he has good matches. He's money in the ring, and he puts people over. Like he definitely does. He definitely put Malachi Black over. Definitely put Darby Allin over. Brody Lee put over. Like it's certain people he just couldn't put over. Like Anthony Ogogo, he couldn't. It just couldn't. He's part of the reason why Eddie Kingston is put over so well. That match with him and Eddie Kingston was solid. It's just I think with wrestling fans, like sometimes, well, most times, wrestling fans like to be assholes. And like if they see something that they have seen too many times, well, it's time to start booing it. And that's kind of probably what they feel with Cody Rhodes. Does he really deserve him? Not really, but it's wrestling.
What do you kind of make of? Because we could go on about this specific thing for hours.
Yeah, for hours. Yeah.
What do you think about just wrestling fans on Twitter in general? Because man, Twitter is a toxic place, but wrestling Twitter is just a whole different ballpark. Like wrestling fans get mad hyped, mad upset about every little thing. Like like, and I think Cody has a point. Cody has a point about wrestling fans being sniping and being, just vitriolic on Twitter. It's true. I would argue that wrestling fans are some of the worst people on Twitter. By the way, follow us at Real Take Sports on Twitter. But you could make the argument that they are some of like probably one of the worst communities on Twitter because do we have moments where we all come together and do good things? Yes, but most of the time, I would say like 90% of the time, it's arguing, throwing vitriol in the worst possible way against people for gimmicks. Yep. For they mispronounced something, they misspelled something, they misspoke, they did they did something annoying, or they did something you didn't like. It's one thing to say I don't like AEW because I think it's shitty booking, or I think it's whatever, or I don't like WWE because I think it's shitty booking. That's a totally different thing. But when you're saying people should go kill themselves, it blows my mind. And if you look in the comment threads about a lot of these major wrestlers, Bryan Danielson got death threats. Bryan Danielson, nicest guy in pro wrestling, got death threats for going to AEW. When would when will people kind of look at themselves in a mirror and be like, maybe I shouldn't threaten to kill someone because of a stupid, nonsensical wrestling thing that doesn't even directly impact my life?
When Roman Reigns went out for his leukemia, they crucified him on the internet. It was so many, and when he finally came back, they said it was a work. They said he wasn't sick. They said he used sympathy to blah blah. It was so much. Even recently with John Moxley getting the help he needs, they crucified that too. It's wrestling fans, along with any sports fans, football, wrestling fans, MMA fans are probably the worst. And all these people suck, completely suck. And you're like, what the why do all of this? Why are you even are you? What in your life makes you think that it is your business to threaten a person that is leaving for something important, because they need to take care of themselves or anything what gives you the right to do that? Doesn't make any sense.
Because I paid $20 for a ticket once, therefore I'm entitled to say whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want.
God damn it! I'll do what I want
to.
I do what I want.
Whatever, I do what I want. That's literally all the annoying wrestling fans on Twitter. Did you see this one thing on Twitter over the weekend? So it was at a table. It was Sean Ross Sapp, who's the journalist, the wrestling journalist from Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp, the boys from True Heel Heat, SP3 and JJ. And then a few other people, Denise Salcedo, Ron Wilkins, a few other people who are really good people. They were sitting down at a table at a restaurant in Minneapolis before Full Gear having dinner. And they posted the picture on Twitter or on Instagram, wherever, because having dinner with friends before a great wrestling show.
Right. I did see this picture.
So many people blew up about it. It was retweeted. There's this jerk of an asshole on Twitter who I'm not going to acknowledge his name or his account or whatever, because he's a dirtbag who retweeted it saying the most insensitive, honestly offensive stuff, some of the most offensive stuff you could say. And it was just and then it blew up from there. And then all the people who hate Sean Ross Sapp started throwing it, somehow trying to throw this picture of just people having a meal, people sitting down smiling before, and trying to turn that into a controversial thing, and saying that, oh, you too can have access journalism. I don't know. It was some BS like that. As if Sean Ross Sapp needs to be validated to anyone at this point with all of his accomplishments, and the way he carries himself, honestly, is probably better than any wrestling quote unquote journalist out there.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
The fact that people get mad about that picture, and now it's turning this whole thing. I saw, I think it was Ron Wilkins on Twitter. He took that picture and he put it into the format for Dark Side of the Ring, and he was like, Dark Side of the Ring season 4, the picture, and it was their picture in a preview. It was hilarious. And I was like, that's funny. because wrestling fans has made it can make the most simple, nonsensical thing into the biggest controversy ever, because that's what a lot of the vitriolic ones do.
Yeah, it is. It's stupid. Super stupid.
Be better. Be better. Honestly, be
Exactly.
better.
Please do.
Think if you tweet something out before you do it, before you hit send, really think about it. It's like, is this worth my time? Is it worth the 10 likes I'm gonna get and the little clout and the feeling of importance I'm gonna get from Twitter? Is it worth it? And people want to say, "Oh, you're on Twitter too." Damn right, I'm on Twitter. You know why? Because I don't take it seriously. Two, I need to promote this show, which premieres live every single Tuesday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever new videos released. Also, head on over to patreon.com/RealTakeSports, RealTakeSports.com, and all that jazz. Because I got shit to promote. If it be like that, but I don't go after people. I don't say, oh, even though I think Disco Inferno was a terrible wrestler, I'm not obsessing over Disco Inferno on Twitter, because why should I, if I don't like someone, why should I give them the time of day?
Or energy, yeah.
Why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But hey, people are gonna find a way to make sense of their own meaningless, petty stuff that they post online.
Exactly. People have nothing better to do.
Yeah, goddamn, pal. They have nothing better to do. They should watch WWE.
I'm gonna get to some of these questions in the chat here.
Do that.
All right. Ron Woodbridge says, Trevor, should I pick the Browns or the 49ers this weekend for severe? I'm gonna say, honestly, it really depends on who they're playing. If you pick your picks off how both teams played this week, you might be a little delusional, because the Browns played like crap in San Fran, played like savants. So I'm gonna say it depends on who they're playing. If they're playing like a lesser team, then yes.
Hey Ryan, if you really want to know who to pick, be sure to check out Real Take Sports Talk tomorrow night, live here on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I will answer all of your sporting questions, even that one, tomorrow night, live here on the YouTube channel.
Do you still do the Sunday football?
Nope, don't. Got too tired for that. Nope, don't got the energy, nor the bandwidth, nor the resources for that right now. Inshallah, we will have that one day, but not today. Let's keep talking about AEW. Our final topic for AEW. Then we will move into our WWE, as Michael Cole would say, WWE. Because you know how he says the WWE.
Yeah, he does.
Like we'll move into our WWE Survivor Series preview, I should say. Big Ticket in the chat says, I already read that one. Cincy in the chat says, when you don't get the noties. It be like that, Cincy. It be like that. We're glad you're here, though. We're glad you're here. Let's talk about AEW Full Gear one last time. Trevor, a lot of fans had a problem with how long this pay-per-view was. A lot of people had problems with the pacing of this pay-per-view. They thought while the matches themselves were all very good or to great, the pacing could have been better, and you probably could have swapped one of them out for a squash match to kind of bring the crowd down, make people less tired, maybe make it an 8 match card instead of a 10 match card. Well, Tony Khan actually responded to this. Tony Khan responded to this by saying, quote, "For the big 4 AEW pay-per-views, I think we found a great length that works well for us. We haven't had great reviews for the pay-per-views. We've had really great reviews for the pay-per-views we've done, particularly All Out, which was the best feedback we've ever had on anything we've ever done for any show. It's the most revenue we've brought in for any pay-per-view, and the best fans and critics have received of any of our shows. I really like the format, the lengths of the shows, the 4-hour main card plus the buy-in pre-show. It's a good length for the card, and we found something that works for us really well." Trevor, did this work for you really well? Did the 4-hour length and the 10-match card work for you really well?
So it was a bit long. I mean, we've talked about pay-per-view lengths for especially for WWE countless amount of times. It was great matches, so it wasn't time that was just wasted. So they were good matches and decently paced. But I will say, if you're gonna have like something like that, a pay per view as long as that with the car with the stellar card that you had, you need at least one get up and piss match or one squash match or something to kind of bring the crowd down a little bit. But other than that, I did not really have a problem with it.
So I mean, there's two sides to this story, right? Or two sides to this coin. One on one hand, you have the side that makes sense, where it's like, you know, just because they have a pay per view every 4 months or whatever it is, they have quarterly pay per views. They only have four a year. You can put together four super cards that are all banger matches that are all great. Kind of like how New Japan does it. New Japan does not. There's no fluff matches on Wrestle Kingdom, man. There are no fluff matches on Wrestle Kingdom, but and I think that's kind of like what they are going for. Also, I think the success of All Out and given that format for them, it really worked well for them. So they kind of want to go with that. And I get that whole thought. On the other hand, I think the crowd was just tired. Like by the end, you could tell like they were still loud, they were still cheering as much as they could, but they were tired by the end. You could totally tell that they were just they were exhausted, and I think that's one of the things that we've criticized WWE for, because they put on WrestleManias with like 12, 15 matches, and we've watched that for like 7, 8 hours on end, and you're just like, my gosh, this is exhausting. And I look 4 hours, I think they went a little bit more than 4 hours this time, but 4-ish hours. I think it's fine to do 4 hours, but when you have 4 hours and they're all 10 just go matches, I think you got to pace it out a little more. I think I would fall under that category of pace it out a little more. Take out one of those matches, put it on Rampage. Take out one of those matches, leave it for something else, leave it for Dynamite. Like, look, I enjoyed the Cody Pac match a lot, but that tag team match could have been on Dynamite. We all know it. Like that probably should have been on Dynamite, and it probably would have been a better format for the show.
Yeah, that was a match that could have been on Dynamite. Definitely, I totally agree.
Yep. Tony, listen to us, please, guys. Yeah, what?
We know some of what we talk about.
Sometimes. Trevor, do we know what we talk about here?
It depends on the day.
Trevor, Walter could be getting called up to the main roster, so this is very, 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 very interesting. So this is according to PW Insider's Mike Johnson. Quote, there's no concrete update. When he initially signed with WWE, we were told Walter was steadfast that he did not want to relocate to the States, which the company respected. Over the last year, we were told that there had been changes in Walter's personal life that have led him to be more open to moving to the United States. It hasn't happened, but the belief is more and more that it is more likely that he will. It is more likely now that he would move here than a few years ago. So stay tuned. We talked about how Walter has kind of done and accomplished a lot, if not everything he can in NXT UK. Trevor, what do you kind of make of this news that Walter might be leaning or more open at least towards working in the United States full time? And what could that mean? Could he be coming up to the main roster? Could you see him in NXT? What could that mean?
It could mean that he's going to NXT. God, I hope he does. Because I don't think they're going to use him on the main roster. Really don't, unfortunately. But if UK does fold, then he needs somewhere to go, and I'm pretty sure he wants to continue his career. So yeah, I could see him going to NXT. I think NXT is pretty suited for him. I would love to see another him versus who's the champion?
Dragunov.
Dragunov. What in? I'm talking about in NXT America.
Oh, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, that could be another match. I mean, he beat him last time. He beat Ciampa last time, but it could be another good match. But yeah, I don't see him going because I don't really think they know what to do with him on the main roster. Like, I mean, yeah, he's easy to use, but I just don't think they know what to do with him on the main roster. So I would like, if he leaves UK, I would like to see him go to NXT.
You see,
or
Trevor.
maybe SmackDown.
You see, Trevor. You're not thinking right, man. You could have Walter. Go to the main roster and just beat everybody. Just become the ultimate final boss. Beat Roman Reigns. Destroy Roman Reigns. Put Roman Reigns at his weakest point. Put Paul Heyman with Walter for a 6-month run of just pure and utter dominance. And then have Roman beat him. And whoever beats him is going to be great. And they could do that, but they absolutely won't. They won't do anything like that. Walter's going to gut.
They won't.
If Walter goes to the main roster, you know what he's going to be? He's going to be Walter the dog, like Cincy in the chat was talking about. He's going to be Walter the dog, which is a meme of epic proportions. They are going to put a dog head on him, and it is not going to be pretty. Going to ruin his entire thing. Walter, if you come to North America, my friend, please don't go to WWE. Wait till your contract's out. Go anywhere else. Go to MLW. Go to New Japan.
Go to
Walter
Impact.
New Japan. Don't go to Impact. Don't even go to AEW. Don't go to AEW. Go anywhere else. Go to New Japan. Become Walter-san. Like destroy Okada. Have amazing matches with
Destroy
Ishii.
Ospreay. Destroy them all.
Oh my God, Walter versus Will Ospreay.
Amazing match. I have not talked about how great Ospreay is recently.
Walter versus Ospreay. Walter versus Kenta. Walter versus Tanahashi. Walter, if you're listening to me right now, all right, listen to me, Walter. There's an opportunity here for you to become the best of all time if you go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Don't stay in WWE. You'll never beat Roman. You'll never beat Big E. You'll never beat Lashley. You'll job probably on a SmackDown show, taped SmackDown show to Von Wagner at some point. Don't. Oh God, who's the most German? The real German or the guy with just a German name? Von Wagner versus Walter. It's like the guy whoever can speak English the best apparently is gonna win that match. Although Walter can probably speak English better than most Americans.
He probably can actually.
Probably speak English better than I can.
I mean, yeah, especially when I'm drunk.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, look, Walter. In all seriousness, he's not gonna go to NXT, even though he is younger than he's I believe 32, so he's not old.
Yeah.
No. I don't think he's gonna. I think they want young talent for NXT. They want young talent,
they
20s.
like what 20s or 23s.
So I guess if Walter does go to the United States, rest assured, and if it's with WWE, he's going to the main roster. Probably going to go to Raw rather than SmackDown. I think Raw could use him. Big E could use a monster heel. I just don't have any faith that they will book him to be one. The first 3 months might be great, and then we gotta have. Then you just gotta change it a little bit. That's Vince's thing, though. He's always got to change. He's got to be Big Van Walter. Oh my God, that sounds so too realistic. Big Van Walter.
It actually makes me a little sad. It really does.
Walter, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, quit professional wrestling. You've accomplished everything you can. You've accomplished everything you can, son. It's been real, bro. It's been real. Leave the memories alone.
Do not let them kill your career, please, sir.
Oh my God! There's no saving. There's no saving WWE at this point. I mean, look, they don't need saving. There's just no. I don't know. There's no point. There's no point in any of this anymore. It's almost as pointless as WWE Survivor Series, which is going to be this Sunday live on the Peacock. This Sunday live on Peacock. WWE Survivor Series Team Raw. Oh my God! I don't even want to read this out, man. This is just what is. We'll talk about it. Okay, we'll talk about it. Let me get my drink of water and we'll talk about it. Jeez. WWE Survivor Series will be live this Sunday on Peacock at 8 p.m., I believe. Some pretty interesting matchups. Team Raw, comprised of Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory, will be taking on Team SmackDown, comprised of Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy. not Harvey, Mike Adamle. Big ups to Mike Adamle, by the way. King Woods, Happy Corbin, and another contestant to be announced later. We also have the women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. Team Raw comprised of Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Carmella, and Queen Zelina taking on Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and another opponent to be announced for Team SmackDown. Also, we got our champions versus champions matches. We're going to have the Intercontinental Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, taking on Damian Priest, who reigns as the Raw's United States Champion. The Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bros, taking on the Usos, who of course hold the SmackDown Tag Titles. Big E versus Roman Reigns, WWE Champion versus Universal Champion. Also, finally, we have Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, the Raw Women's World Champion, taking on the SmackDown Women's World Champion. Trevor, to begin with, we'll preview the matches in a second. Who gives a fuck?
Not I. Not I. Like, what the... to be fair, I literally forgot Survivor Series was a thing. I literally did. When I heard it, I was like, oh shit, that's what's happening? Oh, okay. And I'm like, I didn't realize it was this weekend, so I don't give a flying fuck. I don't care. These might be interesting matches, but if I didn't already have Peacock, I wouldn't like break my neck to watch this.
I don't think we fully wrapped our head around it. This is the worst build to a Survivor Series in company history. Like there's been like no shenanigans at all. Like even a semblance of shenanigans. I don't know what Adam Pearce's motivation is. Like apparently Adam Pearce is a heel now. He's a heel and he wants Team Raw to win. I don't understand what his motivations are. I don't get how Sonya Deville factors into any of this. The only thing on this card that has had even a semblance of build is the whole situation. No. Not even that. No. The only thing on this card that's had even a semblance of build has been the Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch match, which is completely motivated by fans and Becky on Twitter, because Becky's just been going pew 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 shooting on Charlotte and it has been some ruthless shooting, by the way. She's been shooting on Charlotte. It has been not pretty. Becky Lynch cut an amazing promo on an otherwise terrible episode of Raw this past week. Other than that, there's been no build. SmackDown doesn't even have a full team yet. Raw spent the last 2 weeks changing their team. They announced the team. On the next Raw, they took Dominic Mysterio out. Then on the Raw after that, they took Rey Mysterio out and replaced him with Austin Theory. Adam Pearce's whole thing was, I want world champions to represent Raw in the 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series match.
What has Austin Theory won?
And he was like, let me take out Rey Mysterio for Austin Theory. No offense to Austin Theory, but like, come on. Like, his motivations don't even nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Shin and Damian Priest have not even remotely interacted or even cut a promo on each other. I don't understand what's happening with the 5-on-5 matches. I think the Usos may have said one thing about RK Bros or vice versa. I don't even know.
Raw last night, I think.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, it's been a mediocre build to what's going to be a mediocre pay-per-view. The in-ring action is probably going to be fine, but it's not going to matter.
None of it does. And to piggyback off something Cincy said in the chat, who the fuck cares about Survivor Series, to be honest? And that's a shame. Cincy, that is definitely a shame. If you've been a wrestling fan as long as I believe you have been, you understand that Survivor Series used to be one of the big four. It used to be something people gave a shit about. And like I said last week, Survivor Series was my first live show. It was a great show. It was a great card. It's fucking terrible now. It's been terrible for about 4 years now. It's actually longer than that. It's awful. It's awful.
It sucks. Now let's run through the card as mercifully as we can. Team Raw. Again, God, okay, maybe I should be a little nicer to
Probably not.
survivors. No, probably not. Anyway, Trevor, let's kick off with what happened there?
Cowboy shit.
Technical cowboy shit, technical difficulties. That's what happened there. Anyway, let's kick off. Let's talk about this match actually. RK Bros taking on the Usos. Who do you got and why?
It could be an interesting match. I mean, like I said, the build up sucks, but it could be an interesting match just because both teams can wrestle. I'm gonna say RK Bros.
Why?
Just because I don't care. I mean, but I mean, it will be interesting. I think since they are they have turned into a legitimate tag team. They really have. But since it's not the Usos, maybe Raw will win the match. I don't know.
SmackDown, baby. The Usos aren't jobbing to Arcade Bros. Oh, goddamn,
no, they
pal.
can't go.
Goddamn, pal. How else am I'm gonna have Jimmy and Jay hold the Universal title, and then Roman's gonna beat him.
I mean, people like them. Anyway.
Who knows? Anyway, yeah, I got Usos on this one. Next match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Damian Priest. A match on paper which should be really good, but has no meaning whatsoever.
No build. It is completely no build to it.
Who wins and why?
Damian Priest. Only because he's been hot as of lately. As of late, he's been really on his game as of late. So I pick Damian Priest.
Absolutely, and Shinsuke Nakamura has been a jobber. I don't know how he got his hands on the Intercontinental title, but he has been a jobber for the past 2 years, unfortunately. Like they're just giving the token title reign and just be like, King Nakamura is coming. King Nakamura, this is anyone who enjoys, who is enjoying the build to Survivor Series. First of all, at me and tell me why. Secondly, you should probably stop watching this, or you probably already did stop watching this. But let's move on. Talk about Team Raw. Again, Rollins, Balor, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory versus Team SmackDown, McIntyre, Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and opponent to be announced. Who wins and why?
Fuck. Raw, because it's Raw. I don't know. No, you know what? It's going to be SmackDown because they have a mystery opponent.
I say Raw because it's Raw, baby. It's the best. No. Raw's got to get their wins here. I think they're going to get them in the tag team matches. I got Raw here. Yeah. And here's the thing. Anyone who's mad at us about not explaining it, there's no logic here to
explain. There's no logic to it. There's no way to fucking explain it.
There's no way to explain this. Like I'm just like, okay, one, I don't care. Two, they don't give me a reason to care. Three, there's no story going into any of these matches. How am I supposed to predict who wins with an actual explanation? Team Raw. You know why? Because Team Raw. All right, let's go to the other one. Team Raw versus Team
Right.
Baby steps. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Queen Zelina representing Team Raw versus Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, Natalya, and abeyance to be determined for Team SmackDown. Who wins and why?
I think SmackDown wins this one. I think they split it down the middle. I think Raw wins one, SmackDown wins the other.
Raw because of Raw. Moving on. The only match that's had any semblance of build, Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's World Champion, versus Charlotte Flair, the SmackDown Women's World Champion. These two have had quite the interesting past number of weeks. Remember that title exchange ceremony where Charlotte basically kind of like, just didn't give Becky the title, even though that's what she was supposed to do. She kind of threw it on the ground. That sparked Becky to just become Becky. Pew, pew, pew. Straight shooting Becky with two belts. It's been interesting, some of the stuff Becky Lynch has said. She's called out Charlotte for, multiple things. She's called her out for being difficult to work with. She was on Sports Illustrated saying that Charlotte is a problem. Charlotte is, and that somebody needed to stand up to her, which was big. What do you make of this, though? This is like the only match we can actually predict based off a story. Who wins and why?
I think just because of off a story, I think Becky Lynch wins this one. I mean, you could either make it the other way around since Charlotte is the heel and let Charlotte win, but to like gear something up later on down the line. But I think Becky wins this one.
Oh, I got an interesting one for you here. Charlotte Flair wins. Someone's going to interfere. I don't know who. I don't know who the hell is going to interfere. But this is a WWE pay-per-view. It cannot go down without someone interfering and causing a disqualification or a really just obnoxious, stupid, no one gets over type of finish. Charlotte Flair wins. Go Becky 2 belts. We love Becky Lynch. She proved on Raw why she is the most over person in wrestling. Finally, world champion versus world champion. Big E versus Roman Reigns.
There was no build up to this one either. Did they even meet each other?
Roman's been kind of feuding with the New Day on a different brand. Maybe there's that. Why? Who and why? Come on. Do it for the people.
Big E.
Why? Give me one good reason why Big E should win this match over Roman Reigns.
The only reason I say is because I think he needs a big win. Like since he's been champion, he hasn't really done a whole lot. I think he needs a big win just to solidify the fact that he is champion.
Big E is going to have to change his name to Big L after this weekend. He is going to do the job, get absolutely dominated, stoked in 2 minutes, 15 seconds by Roman Reigns.
Probably. I hope not.
It would be interesting. It would be interesting. Hey, it would be interesting. I don't know. I have nothing else to talk about this pay-per-view. But yeah, sure. And I think that puts me with I think that might have put me with at a tie. Yep, it puts me at a tie.
Yeah, it does.
Nobody gets over. What could be more WWE than that?
Dude, like, if you're gonna have a pay-per-view like this, like, do some build-up. Like, for fuck's sakes, like, Jesus, nothing. You could have built Big E and Roman Reigns up so well. Like, oh God,
Trevor, damn it! Would you stop thinking logically? This is entertainment, pal. It's entertainment, pal. Stories can't be linear. Come on. Goddamn, pal. Asking too much. Me and my 50 writers. You know how many writers AEW has?
What, like 20? Is it just one? Really?
One! Dude, Tony Khan books the shows. He books the shows. And everyone just comes up to him and is like, hey, Tony, can I say this? Sure. Go. One guy, and then WWE has like 50 people, and this whole like, and they're just like, and they write for Vince, and then he changes everything anyway. So I guess in a way, WWE also has only one guy, but who knows? Oh, let's mercifully go through this chat. We have a lot of people complaining about Survivor Series. Thank you. Big fans of sports entertainment says, "Boo, Becky. She killed Bianca's momentum." No. You know what killed Bianca's momentum? WWE killed Bianca's momentum. You know why? Because they booked her in a match with Becky Lynch. You don't book if you didn't want Bianca. First of all, they could have had Bianca lose and still had a match between the two.
Yeah.
The problem is that they still up until Trevor, they knew Sasha Banks was not in the building. They knew Sasha Banks was not going to be at the event. Up until the entrances, they were building it up as Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. And then they were like, okay, Becky Lynch is going to come out. Great. Becky Lynch comes out. And then Bianca Belair. Okay, maybe there's a story here. Maybe they're going to be like, Bianca Belair got caught off guard. She was too confident. Maybe they could do something here. No. Next pay-per-view, disqualification dub. Like it's like, and then Bianca Belair is nowhere to be seen in the title picture. WWE booking. You must be a big fan. Yeah. Big Tick in the chat says, I picked Team Raw because R comes before S. Much better logic than either of us provided, honestly, Trevor. That was spot on. Big Tick, spot on. A winner is you. Diehard Bengals fan says, keyword, used. The mystery superstars are Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. Again, way more interesting than any of the build has been to this match. Yeah. Survivor's diehard Bengals fan, Cincy, basically says, "Who the fuck cares about Survivor Series? To be honest, no one does." Big Ticket says, "I wish they would have made Survivor Series a TV special, taking the place of Raw and SmackDown. That would have added more intrigue." Just put
Yeah.
bragging rights on free TV. Come on.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else? Oh, we have some Walter ones that we didn't get to.
Oh shit.
Um, yeah. So Walter would lose to Jeff Hardy in 2 minutes. Probably true. The
Yep.
Iconics are now in Impact. Yes, they are. They are in Impact Wrestling, doing great work. Big shout out to the
Very proud of them.
Iconics.
Very happy for them. I love the Iconics
You know why you love them?
because they're good.
Because they're
Iconic.
iconic. Yeah. I think that's all we have for the show. Anything else you want to talk about, Trevor? What do you like to see watching wrestling? What's your favorite thing in wrestling right now?
Shit, dude, I've been so busy with everything. I haven't really been able to catch up on stuff. But I did enjoy seeing Jay Lethal on Full Gear. That I really did enjoy seeing that, and I look forward to his match with Sammy Guevara coming up this week.
Yeah, I mean Jay Lethal's really good, but did they really need him?
No, I mean no. At this point, they're really just. I mean, at this
They're
point,
flexing. They're flexing.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. They're flexing, and ROH is tanking, is closing up. So why not give Jay Lethal some work? Because like you said, he's going through the forbidden door. I mean, Jay Lethal's still wrestling in New Japan too. So
Yep. Interesting. Yeah, I'm at WCW 1999. All hope is lost.
yeah, pretty much.
Yep, it is going downhill pretty fast. I'm at the point where they've changed the logo and the set. Makes no sense. I don't understand why they changed that. It was perfectly fine. Hey, Tony, don't do that. If you're gonna change AEW, don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, it is, and it's only gonna go worse. It's only gonna get worse
It
from here.
definitely is. I got a question for you though. We've talked back and forth for the past couple weeks, months even, about the way that the women's division is going in AEW.
It sucks.
So I guess my question is to you: do you think they could take some of the stars from ROH and make this division better?
I mean, it's not even. I mean, yes, they could, but it's not even.
And I guess
they
my
have
question
star
is: do
power.
you
No.
think it's
No.
Yeah, I
It's
think that's what my question was.
I want to be very clear. It has nothing to do with the talent or lack thereof. There's plenty of talent in the AEW
Right.
women's division. They just don't get any time on TV to showcase their talent, other than like the token 15-minute match spot. They don't get any promo time. They don't get anything real. Dr. Britt Baker cuts a backstage promo, sure, but when was the last time Britt Baker cut an in-ring promo?
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a while. And like the last, like and like the most prominent one was that Ruby Soho Britt Baker promo, which was amazing. It was one of the best promos in the history of AEW. Like, but they don't give their people. They don't give the women's division time on TV. And I'm hoping that I would have hoped that the TNT tournament would have changed that, but it really didn't. It really didn't. I mean,
matches are few and far in between.
It's far in between. There's no promo time. This is a real thing. I mean, like I know, like Tony Khan got all defensive about on that call or whatever, and he apologized for that. But man, it's just like book better. You are so good. Like Tony Khan is such a gifted idea guy. Some would say he's actually a really good booker when it comes to logical storylines. It is not that difficult at all. It's actually not difficult at all to just do the same thing you've been doing, except with the women's division. Use female talent to do that. You can showcase that. You had 3 hours on TV, and he even said it himself. Not everyone needs to be on TV all the time.
Now, do you think it's a lack of knowledge, or do you think he just doesn't care about the women's division?
I don't think it's like he doesn't care. He's aware of it. And I think he wants to improve it. And he's tried to improve it, I guess, in ways that I think everyone kind of views as like not enough.
Right.
I think the bigger issue is maybe it's just the perspective. It's just it's just too oriented on, I don't know, maybe it's too oriented on the male talent.
Right.
Maybe it's a thing of just like, because kind of like the male roster and the male storylines were so developed over time before a lot of the female ones developed, that
Mhm.
that's why. Even then, it's not an excuse, it's not a good reason. I'm just like, AEW has all the talent in the world at this point.
Yeah, they got star power. You know what I
They
mean? They
got
really
star
do.
power, they got people who can cut promos, they got women who can cut promos. Just do it. Just full send. And I'm not saying like, oh, have like all these, like make it an all women's show all every week. No, having an all women's show to actually showcase though your female talent, and possibly introduce new people to your female talent. Probably not a bad idea, Tony.
Yeah, that's a
Probably
great
not a
idea,
bad
Joe.
idea at all. But I mean, I think they could do something like that, and maybe that'll help jumpstart it. But we've been saying this for months that, oh, this is gonna jumpstart it. This is gonna jumpstart it. This is gonna jumpstart it.
And,
And
and I mean, they made some steps, but
what, like oh yeah, so they got Ruby Soho. After that, that was September, dude. That was like 3 months ago. 2 months ago. I said in September they have no excuse now. They have absolutely no excuse. They got Ruby Soho. They showcased all this talent. They got it. Going into Grand Slam, I saw that promo on Rampage, and I was like, okay, cool. Now do this with
right,
some other people, and they never
right.
did. And I'm just like, okay,
Because I mean, it's one of those things that you can. I mean, you can argue that they don't have any big names in the women's division. You can argue that, right? But these women that are in this division have big names in the indie circuit, and a lot of the people that watch AEW are indie fans, diehard indie fans, and so like you can't really say that that's not it. And a big fan of sports entertainment. He mentioned an interesting point in the chat, like, but I don't know if that's it either. He said probably Tony Khan don't see women's can draw big ratings, and that's false. I mean, if he does, and he does his ratings work, so he should be, but that's false.
I think
I mean, it's possible though. It's possible he can
I
look at
don't
it
think
like,
I don't think he actively thinks that. I think that's just kind of, it may have something to do with the demographic. It might of
yeah,
who watches AEW and who they're trying to watch AEW. That might just be kind of like something that happens. Again, still not an excuse. But man, I just hate to see all this talent. Like, there's so much talent, dude.
yeah.
Chris
Serena
Statlander is
Deeb, Thunder
amazing.
Rosa,
Serena
Chris
Deeb and,
Statlander.
and, and Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida had one of the best Dynamite matches ever.
Yeah,
I was
they did.
marking out, like watching it live here on the YouTube channel, and they just didn't do anything with it.
No, I mean, and again, like one of those matches on Full Gear should have been for the TBS title. It should have been. Like it definitely should
Or
have been.
forget that. Put Chris Statlander versus Ruby
So
Soho
yeah,
on there instead of, if you're going to make the card as all out, to pardon the pun, or just like, great match after great match after great match. Put an actual great match with stakes on there.
yeah.
Like, I would have loved to have seen Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho 1-on-1.
I'm actually looking forward to that match tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that match.
I am
Like
too. It should have happened on Full Gear. Like, it should have
it's
happened on
just
Full Gear.
exactly it should have. Like I mean, I just hope Tony Khan sees stuff like this and hears the fans speak out because we want to see more of the women's talent. The women's roster is completely talented, like you said before, top to bottom. Like
Hey,
I'm not even gonna sit here and name all the wrestlers in there because
I just want to
come on,
hear Ruby Soho's music.
yeah,
Destination unknown. Ruby Soho. Like, I just want to, come on. Like,
and I want to see the alien. I want to see Chris Statlander. I want to see her.
everyone wants to. And then, come on, you got Serena Deeb, Hikaru Shida, Nyla Rose.
We're not even talking about
Oh my
Cargill. We're not even talking about Cargill.
Well, yeah, she was. Yeah, well, yeah. No, I mean, Jade Cargill is definitely going to be the first TBS champion.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's
She's
not
going to
going to be Red
dominate
Velvet. It's not going to be Red
for,
Velvet. It's not going to
no.
be Red Velvet, unfortunately.
She's going to dominate that belt for a very long time.
Big fan of sports entertainment in the chat says, "What's next for Britt Baker? A main event match at Revolution with Thunder Rosa is what's next."
Yep, and Thunder Rosa will win the belt.
Thunder Rosa.
Right.
Do, 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 do,
I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
either that or they give Ty Conti a rematch.
Ty Conti will get a rematch. I don't think she gets the belt right away. Ty Conti should beat Jade Cargill for the TBS title.
That's a good one, and I think she can do it too.
And here's the thing. I don't. It's not that like I'd be mad if Ty Conti beat Britt Baker. I just think if there's gonna be a person to beat Britt Baker in that spot, it should be Thunder Rosa because I want to see that match for the title between those
I want
two.
to see that match, and they have a feud. They have an ongoing feud. So.
Also, who's the last big person to really beat Britt Baker 1-on-1? Even though it didn't count. Thunder Rosa. Yeah,
and you have to give Hikaru Shida another chance at it at some point too.
Man, Hikaru Shida's the longest.
She's so old right now.
Champion.
She don't really need
She's like the best technical. She's one of the best technical wrestlers in that company. Like it's just, Tony, you got to be better, man.
And he'll learn. I mean, it's still a young company. He'll learn. He'll learn. Definitely.
3 years later, I've waited 84 years. 84 years. Oh, yeah. I've waited 84 years for this show to end. Who knows? Might be waiting another 84. Actually, no, we won't be. Guys, it's been a fun show. I know we're ending a little early, but them's the breaks. Slow news week. No one cares about Survivor Series. We'll see what happens after AEW Dynamite tomorrow night. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. Be sure to follow us at Real Take Sports Talk on Instagram and Facebook, at Real Take Sports on Twitter, patreon.com/Real Take Sports. And if you forget any of that, hit up the description of this episode or go on over to realtakesports.com. Trevor, parting thoughts?
Have a good week, guys. Hope to see you next Tuesday. Enjoy wrestling and be good people.
Enjoy sports entertainment, people. We'll see you next time.